As a real estate agent, you know that it can take a long time to get some deals closed. And having done a lot of closings and dealt with a lot of real estate agents, I have observed that some of them just have a little bit of magic to help their deals close faster. And I call it the straight talk method. So today I'm going to take you through the straight talk method as to how these agents are able to get their deals closed faster. There are a couple pillars to what I'm calling the straight talk method. The first one is that these agents are direct. The second, they are proactive. And then finally, they are knowledgeable. So first up, the direct. And this doesn't mean you have to be a jerk to be direct. What I mean is that these agents call issues by their real names. They don't sugarcoat. They don't say just what they think their client wants to hear. They take a problem and they frame it as, this is what's going on. This is what could happen. It could, these are the different paths that it could go. And this is what we are doing to try to get you to your desired outcome. They don't just ignore the bad possible outcomes because they know it will stress out or upset their client because they're afraid of their clients yelling at them or whatever it may be. I have found that these agents being direct and doing so up front minimizes the friction between them and their clients, and it minimizes surprises. Yes, I understand that there are some clients that it doesn't matter how many times you tell them, they may not fully grasp, or they may come back and tell you, you never said that, even if you actually did. What I've observed in these agents that use this method is that the being direct up front, having those hard conversations, not shying away from them, not backing down, really helps them get deals over the finish line faster. The next pillar of the method is that these agents take proactive ownership of the situation. They see this not just as their client's deal, but their deal. They understand the role of the fiduciary to act in their client's best interest, and they don't wait for someone else to just handle it and hope magically that things come together without their influence. What I mean by that is they're checking on the status of things before their clients ask them, what's the status of things? They are following up because they got a good checklist. They know what needs to be happening at what stage. They know that the lender should have sent the title request already so that the attorney can do the title work and get the title commitment. They know that if the attorney can't get the title work done because they don't have the title request, then there might be a delay on the lending side later because they can't get the underwriting and the CD done in time. So they understand how all of the things work together so that they know who to follow up with and when, and that they can make sure that the deal is progressing as it's supposed to be. And finally, the last pillar is knowledge. I mean it, knowledge is power, and these agents have it. They know what can happen in an ideal situation. They know if a deal goes exactly right, this is what will happen for you. But you should know, buyer or seller, that deals rarely go exactly right. So these are the potential things that could happen, on a seller side. By the way, the buyer's going to be getting an inspection. They might find out some things even you didn't know about, depending on if you got an inspection or not when you bought the property. If you didn't get a survey, maybe they find something on the survey. And this is what it means for you. This is how we will handle it if that time comes. Because they know what can happen if you find an encroachment on a survey, or if a title search reveals some sort of easement on the property that the seller didn't know about. Because they know what that means and what has to be done, then they are able to coach everyone through it. The other thing, they know the terms. The knowledge helps them understand the terms. So when I'm talking to agents, I try to speak normally. I try not to use a ton of flowery language or a lot of specific legal terms and put it in, just as plain language as possible. But I know not everybody communicates that way. So understanding what an attorney says when they mean encumbrance, understanding what a lender means when they say that there's some sort of underwriting exception that has to be cleared, or they're trying to source funds, or whatever that may be. Understanding what a surveyor says when they find a setback violation. Knowing how to speak the language and then how to translate it to their clients. And what they do with this knowledge, it goes back to being direct. They use all of that knowledge to set realistic expectations on day one with their client. That's it. It's not that complicated. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it's not complicated. And these three things just help these agents keep things on track. And the last thing any of us ever want is to miss something that causes a closing not to happen on time. Some things we can't control, but these things you can control. And if you control these things, then you're not going to be a reason that a deal can't close.